I like redheads. Redheads are nice. Asian girls, no, I don't cook really good food, but pizza's really cool. Oh, you need me serious, okay. Well, so when we were behind stage, when we went on up, I was chatting with the lightsaber combat group, and the main guy that's in charge of it was talking back and forth with me, and he noticed I was going like, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm warming my throat up, and he goes, oh. He's like, yeah, I do YouTube all the time to keep me from killing my throat, and believe me, some of my Let's Plays, I have destroyed my throat because I'll always record for like 9 hours straight. So I have like enough for a week or so. That way I can be caught up with work and my props. People are like, oh, you gonna record tonight? I'm like, I try and get them on lump sums on like certain days. Like when, oh God, it wasn't hip hop, it was Negligee Love Stories came out. I sat one night and recorded solid and laughed my ass off, but I was trying, Nick asked, it's like, you need to do the voices. And I'm like, when the first game came out, I tried an episode or two, doing like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a voice like this, or oh my God, or stuff like that. It kills your voice really quick. And Mark was not joking when I was watching some of his videos, and he's all like, oh, I can't do this no more, and especially with Wade, because Wade's like, whoa, no. But no, I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna be just sitting up here riffing in front of the camera or anything like that, I mean, how to properly host cosplay shoots or gatherings or anything like that, it's just one of those things. I mean, God, I've been going to cons since early 2000, and back then, you didn't really have access to a lot of costumes. So if you wanted to have photos with someone else in the costume, you didn't have Instagram or a lot of access to Photoshop. But you had cosplay gatherings. And they used to be pretty well organized when they first started. But eventually over the years, it just kind of became a half-ass attempt at grab-ass and who's can outshow each other the most. I kind of blame the Deadpool popularity movement on that because that kind of caused a lot of it. No offense against Deadpool, I really like the character, but it really ruins it for a lot of people who work really hard just to go to the gathering, to get photos with others, just to have people jump in front and ruin their photo, or people won't take photos of half the group because it's not their shiny thing, and it's not fair to others. Or people who don't simply know how to make this thing called a list of all the characters that you can do a 5-minute Google search on. 251? Paging 251, your pizza is ready. Speaking of pizza, I don't know why, but pizza sounds really good. You know what? We should get pizza after this. You know what Max Middleman does not have? Tim Hortons. He's like, this is my first time in Detroit, and I lean over to his handler like, we have to get him Tim Hortons. Have you ever had Tim Hortons before, Nick?
No. So I guess I'm gonna pop my cherry too.
I guess we're going to Tim Hortons at some point.
Tim Hortons is like, think of like a Canadian version of Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
But they have little donut holes called Timbits. And they have soup Red Bulls. And you gotta get them fresh. Most donuts, you gotta get them fresh. Well, they have a wide variety of really delicious Timbits. And you can get like, I mean, you know, like, oh, I've had donut holes before. I remember my ex-wife introduced me to them in 2011. And she's like, oh yeah, bread bowls at Tim Hortons. Of course, when you're from Michigan, you're like, well, we're gonna go up here to Michigander, and we're gonna go up to Tom Quamina and Mackinac and get that really good, delicious spot. Oh, I know we're not from the Upper Peninsula there, because we're not diet Canadians. I used to work in Battle Creek at Denso, and half my coworkers thought they were diet Canadians because they'd go up to the Upper Peninsula with a McDonald's 32-ounce cup full of beer, because if a cop drives by you, it doesn't look like beer, it looks like you're drinking soda on the highway. Like, you guys are dangerous. Don't ever let me drive near you. But no, Tim Hortons is really good, and I tried it, and it's like, there was a few things that I benefited from that marriage. Not a lot, but a few. Technically, I wouldn't be on YouTube if that wasn't for that marriage, because if I didn't move up to Michigan and meet some of the friends to do the Five Nights at Freddy's, to do the When Mom Isn't Home, I wouldn't have my video that is, what, fuck it, 5.5 million views now? Damn. So, yeah. And it was one of those things, it was when Mom Wasn't Home was super popular, and it's like we had the FNAF and just come out, and I had the costumes, and we moved, and they gave me such a small minivan, I mean, such a small moving van. I I couldn't fit some stuff. I had to get rid of a lot of stuff. I mean, I filled like 3 dumpsters, but it was like my chance for spring cleaning and getting rid of stuff. And welcome to the panel. I love your shirt. Don't mind me, I'm just ripping up here because we think a lot of people think it's at a different time, and I'm like, we can wait. But we'll wait a few more minutes for people to come in. I'm just kind of doing a lot of, I do YouTube on the side, so people are kind of curious, like, well, how'd you get into it? And I'm like, well, the year was 2014. Five Nights at Freddy's just came out, and this little thing called When Mom Is at Home was super popular, with the dad playing the trombone and the kids slamming the stove. We got bored one night, and I had to get rid of those 2 costumes, and we did it. The friend wearing my Freddy Fazbear was 3 times smaller than me, trying to wear a costume meant for a guy my size, and it kept falling off of him. And it fell off, and he finally got tired, and he did a chest slam with it, because he had to hold his hand on the head. Well, it looked like he wiped out on camera, and we laughed our asses off all night, so. We're gonna wait a few more minutes to see if anyone else comes in, and if not, we'll just do some proper discussions. Is this your first convention? Is this your first Youmacon?
No, not the last ones.
Okay, cool. I was telling these 2 gentlemen here, I've been going to Youmacon since 2012. I remember when this section of Kobo was not here. Because what we're standing in is all the new addition. I remember they had the concrete laid, and like that whole food court circle area was not there. So we went through with like plastic sheeting on the wall to get inside the registration, and then most of it, well, no, registration was at Youmacon. Dealer's Hall was over here, but most of the panels were over there too. And they were in like really small, tiny rooms, so this would be like what you would get for a grand area, like, oh, here, everyone else's panel's in a room for 30 people. So, but no, this panel's kind of going to be along the lines of, you've been to cosplay gatherings before, correct? You've been to cosplay photo shoots. You've probably been to cosplay gatherings and photo shoots that are probably not run very well, have you?
Yep.
So, it's, I'm friends with guest relations here, and we discussed this panel back in the summer, and the head of it, Renita, was like, yes, you need to do this panel. And it's one of those little friendly, informative, like some simple tricks of how to run it properly. We attended an Overwatch photo shoot earlier this year at Anime Central in Chicago, and it was one of the best run photo shoots I have ever been to. They had 200 plus people at it. If anyone wants to come in, you're more than welcome to. They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it, dude.
That's the fun thing about Fallout 76. You can walk up to people and it instantly pulls up voice chat, like it does though I'm talking to you in real life. And there's ghouls and zombies in there, and a pack of them chased after another player, and I'm like, they're coming for you, Bob. And someone's like, okay, I get that. It's kind of funny as he's screaming as the zombies are trying to get him. Do you know what that's from?
No.
Do you know what that's from?
Yes.
Do you know what that's from, Steve? Does Becky know what it's from?
It's the original Dawn of the Dead. I'm sorry, Night of the Living
Yes,
Dead.
it's
Living Dead.
when they find out that all the dead are.
I've seen that.
It's
Yeah.
the brother just messing
Like
with the
the
sister
really
in the
old black and
cemetery.
white one.
Mhm,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a really good one if you ever get a chance to. By this day and age standards, not too much, but a lot of photo shoots are a good opportunity for people to come to and display their costume that they've been working hard on and get, well, you know, that's what she said. But no, it's their chance to get, are you dressed from any particular series?
Yeah, a guy from certain magical events, which I'm expecting to get bigger, and so I eventually want to start organizing photo shoots for it.
Okay.
So that's why I came.
All right. Ambitious, good job.
But a lot of times, like say, you're in an anime that's blossoming, so you know, okay, hey, yeah, I want to do this, and there might not be enough to get an official thing. We'll give you plenty of tips and tricks on how to get that started up. I've had to do stuff like that over the years, because when I first started going in like 2005, it was really only the big photo shoots, and that was it. There wasn't all these little offshoot branch ones. Now, like, Youmacon's actually really good about doing a bunch, but they're organizing their space in between. Some of the best tips you can do if you're trying to organize a shoot is write a list. Write a list of all the characters you can think of. Bring a notebook or a clipboard with you, and have it with you. So 9 times out of 10, you're not always going to remember a character's name offhand, or you might forget. Always have a list. When we were at the Overwatch shoot, the girl that was running it had a clipboard with a list of every single character. You don't have to do what she did. She had them all in alphabetical order. But she pulled it off of Google. So, and then get a megaphone. It will save your throat. It will save your throat every single time if you get a megaphone. Nothing is worse than trying to host 2 or 3 photo shoots. So like one of my friends, Olivia Judd, hosts the Square Enix, the Final Fantasy, the Tales, and a couple other things. And by the second shoot, she's literally losing her voice. And I'm like, oh, it's $15, get a megaphone. You can control the volume, it's not gonna be loud, it's not gonna be annoying. Wow, that almost sounds like a certain group that's here. Not annoying and very annoying. You guys should check out their panels. But definitely have a megaphone and a list. If you can have a friend help you out, you need someone to help wrangle it, because you can help someone come from side A to side B. An hour to a half hour, depending on what it is usually a good time slot to get you set up and whatnot. And don't be afraid to kind of bark orders. I mean, don't be a dick about it. But some people will, and I'm going to phrase this because if anyone's into the shoots, will be jackasses at some of these, thinking, oh, I'm going to be the most edgy person here. And I'm like, it's for everyone, not just you. It's for everyone. Let's do the serious ones first. And if you want to be edgy at the end, go for it. But let the people who came here to get photos do what they want to do. Because, say, Steve's been working 6 months on this, this JonTron cosplay, and comes to a shoot and some jackass Markiplier cosplayer jumps in front of him and ruins all the photos he's in. That would be rude to him, and it just makes everyone want to beat the Mark cosplayer up. I'm not saying that's ever actually happened. I like the smile Steve's giving me right now. Or this guy called the Completionist, some Gerard Wade? I don't know. No, I'm just messing with you. At least we're not going to force you and lock you in a room to beat Sonic 06 like they did with Aaron Hansen. So, no.
It's been 8 minutes, it's done.
Yeah, Gerard completed 99.9% of the game that Aaron didn't beat. Aaron foamed at the mouth when we turned it on. But no, a lot of stuff. I can make beat sounds too. No. But yeah, photo shoots and gatherings are really simple to do, and it's not as hard and daunting. The first time, it might seem a little bit, but like we did the Overwatch shoot with 200 plus people, and it's always best to do what's called a half moon formation. You always put the tall in the back and the small in the front, and you have people like, well, I don't want to get down on this. I'm like, we need it to where we have rows where people can be all seen, and if you have too many people, it might not be bad to do half a group here or half a group there, or step back. And if you're trying to do it in a location you've been at before, it's best that year before the next year is to start kind of scouting locations. So like Youmacon, you have to specifically state, I want X area for this. Scout 3 locations, because you're never going to get the first one. You're very lucky if you get the first one. Always scout the best one, and then if you get it, you get it. If you don't worry about it. The second or third are going to be your best chance, usually by the second one. And when they drop the photo shoot things, hop on it. It's best to just follow the Youmacon website or on Facebook, because they'll be like, hey, we're doing photo shoot gathering things on there. This year they were a little behind the ball because I think a few staff things switched out, and they were trying to hustle on it. So I mean, they're doing really good for what they've got right now. So. Also, make sure to be polite and courteous, because a lot of people are tired, a lot of people are stressed, a lot of people are hot and sweaty. Always have a rain backup. Sometimes the cons will provide you with one. Like, hey, it'd be perfect for us to go take photos out on the outlook out here, but it's pouring down rain in the middle of November weather in, Canada's border. Canada, no, it's Canadian. We go up there with the Canadian, the maple syrup. It's really good. There's one year we came to Youmacon the first year, we about drove in the tunnel and didn't realize it. Because where the tunnel's position is right underneath the hotel, and it looks like it's a parking garage. You see the parking garage, you're like, oh, I'll turn right here, that's the tunnel to Canada. No, that's not where we're supposed to go. Oh no, the lady looks at us and goes, back up. And we pulled in their spot, and they would pull around, and they're like, oh, please don't anyone block us in. But, yeah, a lot of people think photo shoots are like really hard to do, and they're not. And it's also, always give, and I'm not trying to sound biased, but always give a precedence to a photo line. Try and have, what's the best way to put it? I'm gonna stand up front. So say you've got your photo shoot at your gathering, and all your people are up here on the line.
So say I'm the example of where the photo shoot is. Whoever's hosting it should always probably stand off to the side so they can see where the group is, but they can also help control the crowd. It's really good to have someone on the other side too that can communicate with you. But you always need, like how Nick is positioned here, a photographer line. I'm not going to say this to be biased, but if people have nice DSLRs or like the really nice cameras, give them the center spot, because phones can focus a little bit better on the right or the left. You got too many people that'll walk like right in front and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to take photos with my phone, and it's like at a wedding. A photographer's there to take nice shots. Doesn't mean that he can block everyone from doing it, but let the people who probably paid nice money to get nice photographers in there in the center. People are like, oh, no one's owed anything for photos and anything. And I'm like, check with people. Be like, hey, does anyone have any photographers here? Does anyone want to try and get nice shots? But always be courteous of your cosplayers with the photographers and whatnot.
Yeah, one thing that I've seen done, at least twice, but not recently, I guess. The photo shoot has had like an official photographer, and the person organizing it has, hired to take nice shots of the whole thing.
Right.
Is that a good idea? Is it usually? Do you have any experience with this, first of all? And
Actually, yes, I do.
Is it usually worth the money to get a photographer?
Sometimes cons will have a photography staff. I used to be a photographer, staffer for Anime Iowa, and we would go around and get countless amounts of video/photography media to use for the websites, advertisement, and whatnot. Their banner for Anime Iowa, all the photos on that I took, which was kind of fun. But it's usually 4 or 5 of us will go around and we will try and go to some of the cosplay gatherings and take photos of it, because not everyone can walk out with their phone or have someone take photos, or they're there by themselves, and it's nice for them to like, where can I find photos? And then like, we'll put it up on the Facebook, we'll link it here. Some people will put a professional photographer there, or professional photographers will walk up as their way of trying to sell their pitch. Like, oh, I'll take photos, here's my card. And that works, but it's always good to have a guaranteed way to get someone to take your photos, whether it be someone's in your room and like, hey, one of your friends like, are you cosplaying this hour? No, can you come take photos with my phone? Oh, sure, I'll buy you a burger or something like that. Or if you want a professional photographer there, get them there, get them set up, or just, if you're gonna pay them money to get a nice photo shoot, do it on the side. Maybe find some cosplayers you're like, man, it'd be really cool to get some photos with you and set it up, and then, a lot of them are super friendly. There's been, untold photo shoots we've gone to where we'll get photos with cosplayers later because like, oh my God, your dress is such and such, let's get photos on the side. And it's like, well, let's wait until after the shoot. And then, you have no issue. We did a Five Nights at Freddy's group one year where we did all 4 of the animatronics, and it was at Anime Central, and the photo shoot was selected for 10 o'clock at night. So we're like, all right, cool, we have one of our friends that's coming out and professionally taking photos of us. We're gonna go down to 9, get photos done, and then go to the shoot at 10. They got anxious and started the shoot at 9 o'clock. We're like, well, great, we can't go to the shoot. So we're across the street, it's dark, we're in Chicago, we're under a street light, and we're 4 full-size animatronics that we can't see where our faces are looking. We're looking out of the mouths of these. So we hear our friend's phone, and his camera flash a few times. And then we hear a few other clicks, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like his camera. And we lift our head up, and there's 2 or 3 people there. I'm like, okay. And then a couple more flashes of camera, and then 3 or 4 more go off. And then there's a couple more. I'm like, all right. And eventually it just starts getting larger and larger. What we didn't realize is that the way our animatronics were looking, it looked like we were just staring across the street at everyone at the photo shoot. Very creepily, and about scared the hell out of several people that were over there, because we had someone come up and goes, oh my God, you about made my sister piss herself. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, all we saw was we looked across the street, and there were 4 animatronics just standing under a street light, staring at us, not moving. It was creepy, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, but it ended up being like a makeshift photo shoot, and people lined up and whatnot. Also, please be courteous of everyone's costumes. You might want to hop on the back of, say you're a Naruto cosplayer and there's a Jiraiya there, and you're like, oh, I want to sit on Pervy Sage's shoulders. Don't ask. Don't expect that it's gonna. Well, it's the whole, like, you know, there's been times I've come up and there'll be like a goofy idea, and I'm like, hey, not trying to sound weird, this would be a really cool photo idea. Would you be cool with it? Sometimes they're like, no, I'm good, I'm not my thing. And then sometimes like, oh yeah, I'd be glad to do that. Always ask, don't assume. Also, really make sure of people who have weapons props that they're not whacking people behind them. They're paying attention where their swords are poking. I've been to countless shoots where people will take a sword prop sitting on their shoulder and they'll turn around and whack a cosplayer behind them. And it's like, we love the fact that you've got a 40-foot tall sword on you, but please pay attention to the roof or the thing behind you or that. Don't do property destruction. It's not cute however much you think it is. Italia cosplayers, Homestuck cosplayers, I'm looking at you, and people think, well, you might be biased. I'm like, no, and it's been past examples at a couple cons because we had Homestuck cosplayers that did not seal themselves, and for their photo shoot they decided to roll around in a bunch of furniture, which the hotel got very mad about. This was 2009 NatsuCon, and the lobby furniture almost got destroyed because Homestuck was popular and whatnot, and they wanted to do photos. So be courteous of your costume. Does anyone have any more questions, or I'll keep rambling on? I didn't want to have it to go too much. Does Becky have any questions?
I don't even know what the costume is.
Well, I mean, there's no pressure on anything. I mean, there's a wide variety of what you want to. You don't have to. A lot of people come to conventions like, man, I have to do a costume. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do a costume. You're a cosplay. You're cosplaying a Twitch affiliate, sir.
It's not.
I'm cosplaying somebody successful. Oh.
You're like, that was until the ship got filled with all the people jumping from YouTube. Oh, it just made me sad now.
It's like I made a funny. Oh.
Okay, I have to refrain from some of the jokes I was going to say, but no.
I can edit it.
Yeah, I know you can edit it, but it's more along the lines I still have to keep it PG-13.
So not an 18+ panel.
Oh, has that ever stopped me before? But no, do you have any more questions?
Yeah,
Vincent?
how big does a shoot usually have to get? Like numbers of people that are there trying to cosplay before you have to have somebody else run?
Most photo shoots can be anywhere from 10 to 15 people, small ones, small gatherings. So a good example of years ago, my friend Lindsay used to run the Resident Evil photo shoot here. She couldn't come, and for a couple of years no one did it, so we very much last minute impromptu ran it, and it grew from 20, 30, to 40 to 50 people. And then it gets to a point now, at about 40 or 50, you really need a second person to help you. Because sometimes people will be trying to hold phones or whatnot. And if it gets to a point where cons start stepping in and regulating them is when your gathering starts hitting the 100 to 200 to 300 to 400 range. Because ASINs, some of their gatherings where they're at are outside and they're in like public spots like gardens and whatnot. Like I started going in 2005 where like none of the photo shoots were too bad. You could have 150, 200 people in an area and it wasn't too bad. It was crowded, but it was that. Now imagine when you're trying to go to Bleach, Naruto, all these other ones, One Piece, My Hero Academia, Marvel, all this other stuff, they are packed. And they are spilling out into the actual street. Because there's still traffic for the parking garage, and people don't pay attention to the traffic for the cars, and it's just like, too many people crowd into an area, and it's like a lot of cons will step in and like, this is our regulatory area. But it's like, you didn't give us much space to fit all these people. When they start getting packed, it gets really hard to do that. ASIN started doing this thing called photo shoot areas that I think Yoma's doing this year too, where they have designated Asian locations or backdrops. They have one like it's Tokyo, they have one that's like a garden, they have one that's like a city street, they have one that's an inside home. But they're
Basically, the 4 seasons that Yoma has this year back in the other song.
yeah, except it looks like you're literally sitting in a living room or you're sitting like by a convenience machine or all this other stuff. And you can go up and
That's actually pretty nice.
yeah, and it's all in a designated photo shoot area, and all the ones they deem are under 50 people will get like little sections of a curtain behind them, and that's your spot. So that way they have a constant control of, is it rain, is it not? And you're like, do I go here, do I go here? They're like one designated spot. And that works pretty well, but if you get so much more people and they thought you were gonna have very little, it gets very packed. We actually did a horror games photo shoot this year. We had Dead by Daylight cosplayers come to, which was really cool. One of them tried beating the other one with a toolbox, and it was kind of funny. And I'm like, oh, that's your friend, right? Yeah, it's okay. Okay, we don't want to get in trouble. Definitely make sure, no matter how funny it is, people are safe with their shenanigans. Because what might seem like,
Everybody's okay with it.
yeah, what might seem funny between one and the other might not be comfortable to others. I mean, I've seen siblings like straight whip on each other because they're like, oh, it's funny, but I'm like, that could get me in trouble. Because whoever's running the photo shoot sometimes has to apply to the convention, and the convention has your number and information, and if it gets back, it was poorly run, they can ban you. Or they will keep you from doing photo shoots again in the future. Because some cons are very PR friendly. And they're like, if it messes with their public relations, like Yoma's pretty friendly about that. They don't care, as long as you're not stupid. Anime Iowa used to have a rule, it's called don't be a dink. And it's just simply, don't be stupid. If you think it's gonna be stupid, just don't do it. Don't ever pay attention to Team 4-star, they never follow that rule. Should we do this? Sounds like a bad idea. Cool, let's do it. But, trying to think what else we got. Does anyone have time? My phone's charging underneath me.
It's been going on for 25 minutes.
Okay.
How do you save face if nobody shows up?
So like here, for example, on this panel has changed times 3 times. Initially it was supposed to be at 5, it was supposed to be 4:30, it was supposed to be at 4, it was supposed to be at 3:30. I think a lot of people don't realize the time and whatnot. We're also during one of the big autograph sessions with some of the big people. People are checking in, people are getting out of school. It's one of the slow parts on Friday. After about 5 or 6, it's gonna start picking up. So for this, I mean, you just enjoy it. I mean, it might be 2 or 3 people. Get all the goofy photos you want. Hang out. If no one shows up, then, maybe it's the fact that it was planned at the wrong time. Maybe you were competing against the masquerade. Maybe you were competing against a big session or a popular panel was going. Maybe it was early on a Friday, because that was the thing that always used to irritate me, is when you would go to panels during school time, like when I was going to college, people would post panels super early on a Friday. And I'm like, you guys do realize people are in school. Like some cons during the school year won't do anything big until after 5. Like they'll do registration and they'll do like dealer's hall, but none of the big panels start till after 5 because they know a lot of people still have to check into the hotel or to get up here or transport or might have 4 or 5 hours to drive. It's not every panel, not every photo shoot is gonna run perfectly. Is it?
I'm just gonna hit it.